The meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, May 5th, 2025 is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen. Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Hancock.
Here.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Cassaw.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sundberg. There's a quorum.
Please join me in an invocation. O Lord our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industries, sound education, and good government. Unite our community together, even though we come from different backgrounds. We pray that there be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of our community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The land acknowledgement, the City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous peoples have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called to be better stewards of the land we inhabit, and we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Executive session update. Executive session was discussion on litigation. Motion is in order for the approval of the minutes of April 21st, 2025.
Move to approve the minutes. Sundberg.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Sundberg, seconded by Councilmember Cassaw, to approve the minutes of April 21st, 2025. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the approval of the minutes for April 21st, 2025.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Drinsky.
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes.
Councilmember Hancock.
Yes.
Councilmember Cassaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Sundberg.
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the April 21st, 2025 meeting minutes.
Decorum announcement. You are asked to follow the same rules that council follows, including no attacks of a personal nature or causing a disturbance. As mayor, I have been asked by council to admonish speakers for noncompliance. Please respect those who are speaking, whether you agree with the content or not. Outbursts from anyone are not permitted. Please allow everyone the opportunity to be heard. Public comment on agenda items is limited by council rules to 30 minutes total. Oh, wait, this is the old, I'm sorry. Okay, that's the old one. Nope. Okay, City Council must be able to complete the important business of the city. Let me be clear, if this meeting is disrupted like meetings in the past, I believe council will vote to move the remainder of our meetings for the year to virtual only. This will also include removing the public invited to be heard. It's this old. I'm sorry, excuse me, that's an old statement. Motion is in order for adoption of the agenda.
Motion to move.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
I think Councilmember Cassaw
Councilmember Casar.
Go ahead, motion to move.
Approve the agenda?
Yeah.
It's been moved by Councilmember Casar, seconded by,
Mayor, second.
seconded by Councilmember Lawson to approve or to adopt the agenda. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the agenda.
A motion is in order for the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 9C1 through 9C3.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to approve items 9C1 through 9C3.
Moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Mayor, second.
Councilmember Lawson to approve the consent calendar on motions 9C1 to 9C3. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 9C1 and 9C3.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Drinsky,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passed.
There's a feedback coming in from the column line, yeah.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
Should we pull the 10A1? Did you want to talk about 10A1? Okay. Motion is order for consent calendar resolutions and ordinances. Item number 10A1 to 10A10.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
motion to approve the consent calendar with 10A5 and 10A6 removed for discussion, or pulled for discussion.
Item number, I'm sorry, what, 10A,
10A5 and 6 to be.
10A5 and 6
For
to be removed?
discussion. We just need a second.
Very well. Been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by? Seconded by Councilmember Medina to approve items number 9C.
10A1 to 10A4.
Okay.
So-
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops.
10A1 to
10A1 to 10A4,
and then 10A7 to 10A10.
10A7 to
10A10.
10A10. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the motion.
Councilmember Murillo,
Okay.
Councilmember Murillo,
I'm taking all your pen.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Drinsky,
10A5, right?
Councilmember Casal,
And 10A6.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances with items 11A5 and 11A6 removed for discussion.
Will you please read the title to item number 10A5?
Item 10A5 is Resolution 2025-46 to amend the rules of order and procedure for the Aurora, Colorado City Council concerning public communication.
Brief presentation on 10A5.
I'll go ahead and do it.
I'll defer.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
to me? Okay.
Councilmember Lawson, or do you go ahead and introduce
Yeah,
the
I'm
issue?
just going to introduce it. What this resolution does is that it actually puts some type of parameter into the rules, which we did not have before, regarding testimony of council members when they go to the legislature. I've been the Pfizer chair for 9 years, and what I've seen is very different inconsistencies on how individuals are testifying. Now, one reason I think some people on my council who do this is because they may not like the person who is the chair or what comes out of the legislation, out of the committee in terms of positions. But as I've stated in the Pfizer committee, you may not like the person, or you may not like the decisions or the positions that come from the different legislative actions taken, but at least respect the actual committee. And I see that what this does is when we go before the legislature, we have colleagues who go before them, and let me just give you an example. And you tell me, City Attorney, if this is correct, because I'm going to provide you a couple examples. I'm testifying in my individual capacity, as well as on behalf of my constituents, not on behalf of my city council or legislative committee. So can you tell me, is that the proper way to testify before a legislative body based on what this resolution is saying? And the reason I'm saying that is because you might have constituents that voted for you, that support you, but who are your constituents? They may not always agree with your legislative position. I can say for myself, I can go up and testify on something on my own behalf, which this is not on their own behalf, but all my constituents don't agree with my decision-making. So can you tell me on this particular example, is this a violation of, not a violation, but it's kind of making the line gray of where a council member is crossing the line?
Well, good evening, Mayor, members of council, George Koumantakis, here on behalf of the City Attorney's Office. The way you pose the question, in regards to if this resolution passed, yes, that would completely cover what you're concerned about. The way the council rules are, it has the way the council rules are now, it has the potential to mislead the legislators that someone would be testifying in front of, to make them believe that all of the constituents have concerns about that specific legislation.
Okay. Example 2.
Yes.
Hello, members of the committee. My name is such and such, and I'm here in an individual capacity as an Aurora City Council member representing my ward, or Northwest, well, I'll just say who the council member is, Councilmember Murillo. And I'm here in an individual capacity as an Aurora City Council member representing Ward 1, or Northwest Aurora, and I urge a yes vote. So how is that presenting?
I think, I mean, when you're saying, so that situation is also the same, that the FSIR committee and council as a whole has taken a different position than that council member? Is that what you're?
Yes.
Okay. That would be, again, I think that's more of a direct violation of the council rules.
Okay, and so that's strictly what this is. This is actually putting some type of provision in here to basically give, when you go before the legislature, which we know that people know people at the legislature, okay? So the people who are testifying, they know them. And they can go in their individual capacity. This has nothing to do with First Amendment rights. But what this has to do with is how a council member, and this has been going on not only in this particular council, but since I've been doing this. This has always been an issue. And it's just basically saying in this particular resolution, example, I'm Angela Lawson, and I'm speaking in my individual capacity, expressing my own view, and not those of the city council or my constituents. That's what this is stating. It's just adding this parameter into this ordinance to put something in there in terms of, because when people go down to the legislature and they're going down there and I'm a council member, of course, the legislature is going to look at them and say, there might be some influence on this particular bill. So, excuse me?
Yeah, please.
So there may be something on this particular bill, but the city of Aurora has already voted. The council have voted for it. So you're not going down the individual, you're making influence. You're influencing. And to me, you're kind of lobbying. Maybe you should register as well. So this is what this is about. I already know I'm going to get into it with my colleague because she has been the main one, Councilmember Coombs, who basically doesn't care, but it gives future people who are the chair of this to be able to provide some type of censure or something depending on what that chair wants to do. So it's not just Angela Lawson, because I'm not going to be here forever. It gives future councils. So, I mean, that's fine. It's not going to give the future council or whoever's going to be on this committee a basic idea of what they can do if they choose to go forward with any kind of censure. And this censure would go to the state legislature, correct? A written letter, if that was something that the Pfizer chair wanted to do?
Yes, if,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
if the Pfizer.
So that's what this is about, and I would hope to get a support vote on this, and I'm pretty sure we're going to, about to go into debate.
Any-
Excuse me?
No, we're not going back and forth here with the audience. George, Liz, do you have anything to add to this from the staff point of view?
I don't,
Okay, Liz?
Mayor.
No.
Very well. Motion is in order on item number 10A5.
Mayor, I move to approve 10A5 forward.
It's moved by Councilmember Lawson, seconded by,
Vote in favor.
Oh, vote in favor.
yeah, seconded
10A5, sorry.
seconded by
That's all.
Councilmember Casar. Further discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
So first, I do want to be clear, I didn't think that this was going to be part of the conversation, but when I go down to the legislature to take a position on an issue or an item, it is never, ever, never has it once been, nor will it ever be, about a personal feeling toward the chair of the committee or the members of the committee. It is often due to a opposition to the positions taken, but I just want to be really clear on the record that that is not what is going on, and I apologize if that's ever the sentiment that has come across, is that I am testifying as a result of any personal issue. It's not personal.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Yep, you're welcome. But I do want to just clarify, so I don't think it's bad to have some clarification. I don't oppose everything that's here, but I do want to try to make sure we bring something forward that is going to still allow members to speak truthfully. If I were to use this sample statement that is here, it says, I am speaking in my individual capacity, expressing my own views and not those of the city council or my constituents. So that would be a lie on my part, to the extent that I have conversations with my constituents where they support the same positions that I'm taking. I wouldn't be able to say I am speaking on behalf of all my constituents. And so as a compromise, what I would suggest is under the actual legislative language that the council member is expressing his or her own views and not that of city council, strike or the council member's constituents, and may not state that they are speaking for their constituents, unless the city council is formally, as a body, adopted the same position on the issue being discussed. So not saying I don't, right? My concern is that I would have to show up and lie, say I am not speaking on behalf of my constituents, which would be a lie, versus simply not saying I'm speaking on behalf of my constituents. That's what I'm asking for here. So I would move to strike and not that, or strike or the city council members' constituents, and replace that with and may not state that they are speaking on behalf of their constituents.
Do you want to present that as a friendly amendment first before it's an actual amendment?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I'll accept that friendly amendment.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
very well. Okay, further discussion.
Mayor. Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen.
And then Murillo.
So,
Councilmember Murillo, I'm sorry.
is it Bergen first?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry, we spoke at the same time. I was just trying to clarify.
Councilmember Bergen, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
I was
Thank you,
misled by the city attorney.
I understand what Councilmember Coombs is saying, but I think, I just don't think you should even use the word constituents at all when you're testifying, because that implies some, percentage, whether it be all or a percentage, it shouldn't even be included. You should just really be testifying on your individual basis, state your name, and that's it. And also, I would say we should not be wearing our council name. I don't know if anybody has ever done this, but we should probably not also wear our name badges that are given to us as city council members. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor.
Let me just say before, I think it's, the purpose of it is just to have clarifying language that when you're testifying on a position that is not the city's position, i.e. the position of the Pfizer committee, that you clearly identify that you are not representing the city. And so I don't think it's necessary to say, I think you can be silent on the constituent issue. But I think it's just to have a clean, concise statement that somebody reads before they testify. And I don't care if they wear their name tag or whatever, or the city emblem. I think the point is to have clarity that they're not representing the position of the city, that they're representing their own position.
Mayor,
Councilmember Murillo now, right? And then Councilmember Lawson.
I think so. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not opposed to adding some clarity. I think the thing that is confusing to me, and I feel like is a bit of a slippery slope, is kind of the last part. When I've gone to speak, I've been very clear, as was read earlier, that I'm there in an individual capacity. I'm wondering, though, if there might be some unintended consequences, right? It is a fact that I am a Aurora City Council member. I do not claim to represent the full opinion of the City Council member, but as a representative of my district, whether we say that or, representing my constituents or not, I think that's where I'm a little concerned with the direction of this. I'm not opposed to some clarification, but I'm worried that if I continue to be an advocate and people ask me, my testimony has nothing to do with trying to be contrary to the city's position. I have no interest in that. I think I've made it very clear that I'm supportive of the work that we do. But if a community group in my community asks me to advocate for a particular bill and it aligns with my my beliefs as an elected official, I'm gonna go do what my community asked me to do. So I'm worried that this is a gag order. There's some unintended consequences, rather, that this is not impeding on my ability for freedom of speech and just being able to identify myself. And we can make the distinction that we say that we're not representing the full city council, but I don't understand why I can't say that I'm speaking in my individual capacity, state that a fact that I am a city council member and that I do advocate for XYZ position. I feel like this is a slippery slope, and it feels, I'm worried that it might feel like a gag order on our colleagues.
Well, Councilmember Murillo, I don't feel like it feels like it's a gag order. I mean, if I go down to the legislature, I've testified, and I don't go down there and people have asked me to testify on certain positions, and it's not for the city, and I say I'm Angela Lawson. Okay. I mean, I don't go in to say I'm a council member. I don't go in and say that and you can go back to the tapes for many, many years. And when I have testified, I've testified on behalf of the city, because I'm on the Pfizer chair. But when I went down an individual, I've never went down there and said, oh, I'm Angela Lawson. I just say I'm Angela Lawson, and I'm here in my own capacity representing whatever oppose, support, whatever bill. So to me, again, you have people down there that know you, and if, this is not how you stated that, it's not correct. I mean, this is not a gag order. I'm not trying to take people's rights away. I'm not trying to do anything like that. So, this is just something in here that I think, to me, that needs to, because it causes a lot of confusion. It really does. So I will let Pete speak to this. Pete, why don't you speak to Councilmember Murillo's question that it's a slippery slope and it's a gag order?
So it's, under the First Amendment, it's not a gag order because you're a member of this body, and the member of the body can pass rules that govern the conduct of the body. What I will say is what happens is if your testimony and how you introduce yourself gives you a little bit more credibility than the average citizen, I think that is what Councilmember Lawson is trying to accomplish here. they're going to know, a lot of the representatives and the senators know who you are, but just by stating that, hey, I'm here, so-and-so, not representing, not talking about constituents, not talking about being a council member and all those things, it puts you on the same level playing field. If the city has taken a position on it that's contrary to your position that you're testifying. So from a legal perspective, this is fine, but the way it's written, because again, you're a member of the body, we're not forbidding anybody from going down in the individual capacity to speak on behalf of something. It's just that when you're representing yourself as a council member.
And then,
Mayor.
and then,
Oh, sorry.
Councilmember Lawson still has the floor.
thank you. And then Pete, with Councilmember Coombs' friendly amendment, would that be still a slippery slope, her friendly amendment?
No, I mean, I think if with one of the reasons that I think our office recommended that we have an example is that if that example is used, or a very slight maybe amendment to it, if you can't remember exactly what it is, I want to make sure we're clear about that, because it's a suggestion, not a mandate. You're going to be fine. There's not going to be any censure actions, those sort of things. And I know there's some concern about that, but remember when we changed the rules a couple of years ago after the last censure action, my office still has to look at it and say, yes, a rule or law was violated before I will draft a censure resolution to move forward.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs and Councilmember Murillo.
So on that, though, with the friendly amendment, wouldn't we also strike "or my constituents" from the example text? So to Councilmember Bergen's point, like, we just shouldn't be saying constituents at all, whether it's don't or do represent?
Sure, I think that would be acceptable, and maybe it's my cold that I'm fighting, that I thought that's what your friendly amendment did, but we need to add that to the example.
So also in the text is what I
Gotcha.
said. So I was speaking to amending the text.
Okay.
But yeah, we would need to amend the text of
And the example
the
statement.
public communications clause and the example statement.
To take out the or constituents. Is that a friendly amendment?
That's a friendly amendment that I
Very well.
accept.
Can
That's
you-
been clarified.
Can you read just in the record, Councilmember Coombs, what it would say without that?
Yes, I, Allison Coombs, am speaking in my individual capacity, expressing my own views and not those of the city council.
Burr?
That would accomplish the goal of Councilmember Lawson.
Thank
Very well. Councilmember Murillo.
Thank you. There's a couple of things. City Attorney Schulte, you mentioned that the intent was to limit the power of the individual council member. Is that correct?
No, not,
It's actually-
oh, I'm sorry.
That's what you said.
No, what I said is that if you're speaking as a council member, what you're doing is you potentially are giving yourself more credibility than a regular citizen who's not a council member, because the city doesn't
But I
take
am a
positions.
council member and I was elected, so I'm really confused why that's a problem.
I understand. I'm just talking from the legal perspective. Doesn't mean from the
Me
political
too.
perspective.
I'm also talking about my obligation and my duty to represent my community and to state facts. Aren't we supposed to state facts? Aren't we able to state facts? Or is that a problem now?
I think if you're introduced, I mean, every time that I've been at the legislature this year, every one of my bosses that are on this council have been introduced as a council member, and I think that's totally fine. But I think when you get introduced as a council member and you come up and you state what that recommended sentence is in this rule, if it passes, you will be in compliance.
If I state, I am an Aurora City Council member, I'm not going to get censured, or there's not going to be a gag order for me trying to express my opinion on a bill, even though I'm stating I am a city council member. That's what I'm concerned about, is that I heard the word censure, I heard the words reduce power, and I felt like I was very clear and very straightforward that I was not representing the city council perspective, but my own. So I guess I'm not seeing that in the example statement, and I want to make sure that that's not something that's left unaddressed, so that, come future council members, that they're slapped with a censure for expressing their individual opinion on a bill and
Attorney,
stating the position.
City Attorney, can I just say what I said, that gives an option. It doesn't mean that we can censure you. I said that provides an option. that would have to be, you
Okay,
know.
but that's not my main point, I guess,
Mayor,
Councilmember.
Okay, let's not
can
go
I-
back, let's not
Mayor,
go back and forth.
Mayor,
Councilmember
I was
Murillo has
still
let
talking.
Councilmember Murillo finish your comments, and then I'll go to you, Councilmember Lawson.
thank you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emphasis on individuals, so it feels a little suspect to think that this is more than like, focused on specific individuals. I think what concerns me is like we have a majority now that has greenlit a whole lot of questionable actions by colleagues, just given the green light, not chosen to censure or create any type of punishment for an opinion that they agree with, that we're going to drown out the minority perspective. I think I'm just very concerned that this is setting up the precedent. And I want to be clear, I'm not assuming any intent, Councilmember Lawson, so you take that the way you want, but I'm expressing my very real concerns that this feels like a slippery slope. This feels like a potential gag order or could be used in that way, whether you intend it or not, could be used in that way to try to censure or penalize a minority opinion. And that feels highly undemocratic. And so I don't support this. And I also, I support adding clarity. If we want to add some examples that add some clarity, if that's the concern, great. But I want to know if I'm able to state that I am an Aurora City Council member when I make testimony. That's why people ask for my testimony and opinion, not because I'm an average person, but because I have perspective, because I represent my constituents. And sometimes those constituents are the ones asking me to do these things.
Okay,
Mayor,
Councilmember Lawson.
Can I, Mayor, I've moved to end debate.
Okay, the motion to call for the question.
Mayor, I call for the question to end
Okay,
debate.
it's been moved by Councilmember Lawson, seconded by Councilmember Bergen. Seconded by Councilmember Bergen. Non-debatable motion.
Mayor, just a point of order.
Non-debatable motion. Call for the
A
question.
point of order, is that a point of information?
Okay, point of order.
inquiry? Or did you want to yell that one more time? Okay. I just
Mayor, I
wanted
call for the
to
end of debate.
add a point of inquiry that is allowed, since my council member colleagues want to shut down debate again. I'm clarifying my intention. It is a point of order. Point of order, Mayor.
Question.
This is highly disappointing.
Mayor, point of order.
Councilmember Combs.
So the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I don't think the question was answered that I think is relevant to the vote.
City Attorney,
Which-
I call for end of debate.
This isn't
It is a
debate.
non-debatable motion.
It
I
is
did, but I called for
a
the
point of information. It's a point of order, which supersedes.
City Attorney.
So here's the deal. If the call for the question had not been made before I was able to answer the question, I would have answered it. But the call for the question was made. The Councilmember Lawson was recognized by the mayor. That motion is pending. If it fails, requires a 2/3 vote, then I can answer the question. But the motion and debate stops everything. And that's where we are right now. It's non-debatable.
So I'd ask
and
my
requires a
colleagues to
vote.
support that so we can get some clarification.
Call for the question.
Yeah. Right.
This is embarrassing and disrespectful at best.
Well, you've been very disrespectful.
Oh, I don't have time for your fragility.
I don't have time for you either.
Mayor Kaufman?
I call for the question.
Mayor votes yes.
End debate.
Mayor
The
votes yes.
motion passes with 9 yes votes and 2 no votes from Councilmember Coombs and Councilmember Murillo to end debate and vote immediately on the motion.
Councilmember Lawson, I sent you a message informing you that I testified with very much respect. So this feels
Will
like.
code now please read the title to item number
Oh,
10A6.
we need to
Mayor,
vote.
we
Call
have
the
to-
vote on 10A5 as amended.
Oh, I'm sorry. We go back to the original motion,
No, 10A5 as amended, so.
to 10A5 as amended. Further discussion? Seeing, it's call for the question, sorry. Call for the question on number 10A5.
Councilmember Bergen? Thank you. Councilmember Murillo?
Is this for the,
This is for the motion to approve the resolution with the friendly amendment.
okay.
Okay, the Motion passes with 8 yes votes, 2 no votes from Councilmember Coombs and Councilmember Murillo.
Mayor, point of order.
Councilmember Coombs.
So I voted no because an answer was not given. Is it censurable to say, I am so-and-so, a member of the city council, and I'm here in my
City
individual
Attorney,
capacity?
I ended debate.
Is-
I mean, just the hypocrisy of
Yeah,
decorum and
I'm not a record.
unbelievable. I ended debate.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 10A6?
It's just so double standard.
Mayor, point of order.
Unbelievable.
If it's a valid point of order.
Who's asking for it?
I think is it Councilmember Murillo, I think?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Is yelling and screaming, throwing a temper tantrum part of the rules of decorum?
Excuse me, I ended debate.
I'm asking.
Clerk now please read the title to item number
I
10A6.
still have not gotten an answer to my point of order.
Item 10A6 is Resolution 2025-47 to amend the Rules of Order and Procedure for Aurora, Colorado City Council concerning virtual attendance at city council meetings, cameras and recording devices in the chambers, and 1 person at the podium.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a statement before we have public invited on this agenda item. I will be offering an amendment, a motion to amend this 10A6 to strike section 2A that is regarding the videotaping. So I just wanted everyone to know that that will be happening and I will be taking that part out.
Very well. Councilmember Bergen, do you want to introduce your, walk us through your measure? 10A6?
Do you need to do public first or?
Well, or staff give a presentation. Staff presentation on 10A6.
Andrea, go ahead and just give, what the rule changes does.
Okay. Andrea Wood, here on behalf of the City Attorney's Office. So this resolution removing Section 2 would just amend the rules of procedure to allow virtual attendance by council members at meetings without the 24-hour notice that was previously required to the city clerk's office. So you could appear virtually without that notice in the future. And then Section 3 amends the council rules to only allow 1 person at the podium at a time, with the 2 exceptions that if there is a minor child, they may be accompanied by a parent or both parents. And if there is someone who is in need of interpretation, that interpreter could appear with them at the podium.
And Andrea, if you can go ahead and do Section 2 since it's still in the bill before it's removed.
Okay, so Section 2, if that were not removed, would also amend the rules to not allow the use of cameras in the well of the council chambers. Cameras, recording devices would be permitted in the seating area, but not in the well, with the exception of what city staff is recording.
Okay. Motion is in order.
Mayor, we have individuals who'd like to speak on this
Oh,
item.
very well.
Tanya Tabachek.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The first thing I want to do is, I feel like apologizing in itself of what was said against the family earlier. That was not appropriate and not called for by the individual in the audience. That was not right. Another thing is everyone has a right to talk and listen, be heard, however they want to talk and so forth, with the respect that when they're up there talking, that others respect that and not talk behind and heckle and all that. But I just wanted to just say that, like I said, everyone has a right to talk, regardless videotaping or whatnot. And having 1 person or whatever, that's up to you guys. You guys need to decide on how you want to proceed with that. And you need to take more structure and find different avenues so that everybody has a right to talk and everyone has a right to speak. And no one feels not that they're listened to, that you're all listening to them regardless of what they say. And this counts. I have my cousin's here from Arizona, And it's just, you know, this council could be so much better, but you guys need to listen to each other, you know, listen to the constituents, and the decorum needs to be upheld, and regardless of how many minutes or whatnot, that should be respected as well. And every individual, regardless of who they are, where they come from, needs to be listened to like you're listening to them and you're not ignoring them. And their thoughts matter and their concerns matter and their feelings matter. So you guys need to really take serious and listen to it and listen to it and listen to hear what they have to say. In addition, regarding the other things that happened with the stolen cars and so forth, that it also matters as well. But everybody, like I said, everyone has a right to talk, but the talking, everyone has a right to talk. So, you know, if other people are talking, they respect, but not everyone listens to that. So I just wanted to, you know what, go ahead, I'll just stand here.
Okay, please address the 10A6.
I am, but you know, that, Mayor, and I respect that and all that, but that goes for everybody.
Sure.
You know, everybody needs to follow the rules, regardless of whatever. We need to all be in consensus with each other. I'm not saying everyone has a right to say anything that they want to say. I understand that. But when they're up here at the podium, and I don't know if you could look into this or whatever, but they need to address the dais. Not because there's other people that have addressed other ways, and they've been told to turn around. So, like I said, let us all be in the same, we're all in the same, we all need to be in the same rules, follow the same rules, the same decorum, and all that. That's all I'm asking. That's all my thoughts are, and I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. Thank you.
United we stand divided. Robbie DeYoung. Alexandra Jackson.
Hello again, Mayor and Council members. My name is Allie Jackson. I am here to strongly oppose the proposed policy change that would restrict public recording in city halls and limit how many people can stand in support during public comment. This proposal exists in a legal gray area and may violate Colorado's open meeting laws, yet it's being justified under the vague umbrella of safety. As Councilmember Bergen put it, it is for safety purposes. I find that incredibly ironic. There are armed officers throughout this building. If the council were truly concerned about public safety, you would be focused on reforming the use of force policies that disproportionately harm Black, brown, immigrant, and poor communities. These are the people living in fear for their safety, not you. If council members are serious about easing community tensions, they must respond with compassion and accountability, not more restriction and silencing. I question the logic that a tripod camera obstructs someone's view while you all sit on very tall daises looking down on the public. This proposal would even limit media access, despite the fact that photojournalists regularly record floor level in legislative chambers across Colorado, the state capitol, and Congress itself. State law is clear. The public has a right to record open municipal meetings. So who isn't restricted by this policy? City staff. Once again, power is being shifted away from the public and concentrated into the hands of those who govern. To make matters worse, this proposal also eliminates the requirement that council members give 24-hour notice before attending virtually. That on top of the existing policies that allow council members to skip public comment altogether. If you are not required to show up to hear the public speak, when then is the role of the city council? The people of Aurora are engaged. They are grieving and they demand to be heard. Rather than silence them with policy, meet them with presence, with listening, and with humility. That's what real safety and leadership looks like. We are not a threat. We are the public. This building, this chamber, this process, none of it works without us. I urge the council to reject this undemocratic proposal rather than react to discomfort with repression. Let's rise to the moment with openness, courage, and public service. Thank you.
Ayante Anderson.
here we are again, another rule change, because you simply cannot acknowledge a grieving family. What are we at now? Rule time, this is the 5th or 6th rule change to limit what happens at this podium. This is what your time is being spent on. Not about potholes or car accidents, deaths, or other vital city services, but we don't want more than one of y'all at a podium every other Monday. Let that sink in. You are debating a rule about more than one person standing at this piece of wood. You are allowing your council members to stage protest because they don't like the folks that are in the room. And now they don't have to give you any notice if they're going to miss the meeting. We know that they are behind this door. They don't even know how to work a Zoom meeting. We heard Mayor Pro Tem Sundberg earlier tell Danielle it was time to vote. If they can't work a Zoom meeting, then I have concerns about working the city, working and managing this city. So I am curious about what is the problem you are trying to solve. Because right now you are reminiscent of the Jim Crow South, of those who said, how many jelly beans are in this jar in order for you to register to vote? How many how many judges do we have in our state, and can you name them in alphabetical order? What is the preamble to the United States Constitution in order to register to vote? And every time my ancestors said, we the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, and would continue with that preamble and pass that first check, they said, oh, well, we want to know how many jelly beans are in that jar, 1,372. Oh, well, we want to know who were the first presidents of the United States of America, George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and the list continues to go on. It's just rule change after rule change after rule change. But what you missed in that story is that despite how many obstacles you threw in our people's way, we still found a way to get over that obstacle. We still found a way to be able to vote. We still found a way to get away around your poll taxes. This is Aurora, Colorado's version of poll taxes. You thought changing the city council's public comment was going to change something, but now you just sit here while we run the show. Remember, this is our chambers. Come on, man.
Median Schaffner.
I'll just start off by asking, is everybody okay? So I join the several voices already that have spoken into the fact that your body of government would rather change the rules of how public comes to engage with you than to simply advocate for a more just city. It seems to me that you all think that we actually enjoy coming to see you on a Monday night. I don't like seeing you, Mike. I just don't, and that's just honest. I don't, and I'm sure it's a mutual understanding. We don't enjoy coming to see you on a Monday night to stand with a family that has been screaming for justice for almost a year. We've been accused by several members of this body that somehow, some way we're doing this for attention. I got all the attention I need. That is not why we are here. But the issue is that most of you think that you are in a position of power and not in a position of responsibility. And I'm willing to bet that several of you don't even know the difference. So I'll scratch the surface because I haven't sent you an invoice. Power is about control. Responsibility is about a relationship. And what you are forgetting to do is to go into relationship with the individuals that you claimed that you ran to serve. Some of you, it got lost on you, but some of you were never set up that way. But here's what I hope you understand. All you are showing to this entire constituency, this entire city and beyond, is that when we say jump, you say how high. Every time we strategize, organize, so we can decolonize this body, you seem to find yourself saying, well, damn it, it didn't work. They still keep coming. The innovation comes from our ancestors. Pastor Anderson gave you a great lesson. There is nothing you can do or change or modify or shift or do differently that is going to change the fact that Kylin Lewis's family deserves justice, and you are the barrier in front of that justice. Change your rule so we can organize, strategize, and what team? Decolonize. Yeah.
Kiowa Lewis.
I love you, Allison. I love you, Crystal. I love you, Ruben. I appreciate the things y'all do. I understand that working in the midst of the belly of these beasts, right? Y'all still find a way to bring about truth. You find a way to still hold those who don't want to hold themselves accountable. We sit here today with people behind me who agrees with the prior people that came up. Aurora, y'all got to get it together. You know, Mike, I never seen hate until I seen you and Michael Deep. The thing is, y'all give permission to make people think that this is about race, when majority of my family is white. I'm mixed. You know, I just want to say thank you. I want to take the time. Y'all have given us a blank canvas, and we're about to get up here and do what needs to be done. Because we're strategizing. Y'all don't know where to turn. The three that I named, this has nothing to do with y'all. But for the rest of y'all talk about things that don't matter. First and foremost, money should never come above people. Ever. So how many times y'all talk about roads, y'all talk about what y'all want to set up, y'all talk about things to where it aligns with lining your pockets, all that is coming to an end. Because people in Aurora is getting tired. Actually, they ain't getting tired, they been tired. Pete, I don't think you
Please
gonna last
address
long.
1086.
Mike, I don't think it'll last long. You know, I understand you don't like truth because you ring your little gavel every time it touches a soft spot. But you're going to listen to this.
1086, please.
So I'm going to take a moment.
The question is rules of order and procedure. 1086.
Thank you.
Robert Lewis.
I just find this like a clown suit. Most of y'all wearing them, and they don't look too good. You ain't making nobody laugh. It's a hard time in this world. It's gonna get harder. But what y'all keep sitting up here talking about really doesn't make any sense to me. You shouldn't prosper when you do evil, and you back evil. It's just a shame that that's the way you are. But like I say, one day it'll come on you. And don't ask why, don't ask when, because it's gonna happen. Y'all have a blessed evening.
Mayor, that was the last individual to speak.
Motion is in order on 10A6.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
I move to reject item 10A6.
Mayor Bergen, I was before Coombs.
I'm sorry. Is there a protocol?
Yeah, so Councilmember Coombs was first, so are you asking a motion to, and then, so the motion,
There is not a motion to reject.
it's a motion to,
You're just not doing a motion to adopt.
correct.
That's correct. So, Councilmember Bergen.
Motion to approve 10A6.
Moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by?
Hancock.
So, Councilmember Bergen, you moved and it's been seconded. Are you making an amendment still, or are you going to keep it as is?
Yes.
Okay, but I need a second first, right?
Yeah, it was Councilmember Hancock, seconded.
Okay, so we moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by Councilmember Hancock. Councilmember Bergen?
Thank you, Mayor. I would now like to make an amendment to strike section 2A.
Councilmember Hancock, is that a friendly amendment?
Yes.
Very well. It's been 10A6 as amended. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Mayor Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen.
Thank you, Mayor. So someone asked a question about what problem we're trying to solve and that it wasn't a safety issue, and it indeed is a safety issue. And I would just like to point out that whether it's a school board meeting that someone that just spoke to us is very well aware of, including any other city council meeting that has happened, it's always one person at the podium. That is just respectful. That's how it's been. You can watch any school board meeting, any city council meeting, and it's standard to have one person at the podium. We unfortunately have had a group of people coming at the podium. It's disrespectful because it's supposed to be one person having the opportunity to address council. But it is a safety issue because although we have police officers in the chamber, they're now having to watch 10, 15, 20 people at the podium versus the one person and watching the audience. So it is a safety issue. And that is why I'm bringing this forward. I did make the exception for if a child is accompanied by their parent and also for an interpreter. Regarding the public notice, no one on this council or previous council has ever given notice when we have allowed virtual meetings. And the 24-hour notice makes no sense because if you're sick within the 24-hour time frame, if you have your car break down within the 24-hour, you would be in violation of that particular rule. So it makes no sense to have it, and that is why I'm asking to have it removed. So I urge my colleagues to please vote yes.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
So there's been some discussion already this evening about the balance of power and what the appropriate balance of power is. So an example of a time when folks frequently have others standing beside them, putting an arm around them, or just standing around them in a whole group in support is in our state legislature at the well. people go down to the well and get surrounded by half the legislature on a regular basis, whether that's because they're becoming emotional and someone wants to put a hand on them, or because folks just want to stand with them and show their support. And that's a very common situation. So what we're saying is that as elected officials, we are entitled to that support. We are entitled to that show of support physically, but that people are not. And I think that there's a very relevant point that has been made about what that balance of power is between us as elected officials and the people that we represent, wherein we seem to believe that because we have the power to govern, that that also means we should have more power than the people who put us here. And I think that that shows our priorities, our understanding of power, as Ms. Holmes said, our understanding of service and leadership and responsibility being misguided, imbalanced, pointed in the wrong direction. There is no reason whatsoever that the people in our community should not be able to show each other support in the same way that elected officials choose to do.
Further discussion? Further discussion? Councilmember Medina.
Number one, I've said this many times, I am not going to run from community. I'm not going to go hide behind some door. I'm not afraid of community in any way, shape, or form. I'm in community all the time, so I'm not going to do that. The other piece is the power dynamics that everybody talks about. I can guarantee you I'm probably one of the only council members, if you ever come to one of my meetings, you'll see I have no podium purposely from day one because of that power dynamics. Everything I do is in a circle of chairs so that we are all equal. And I allow people, whether they agree or disagree with me, to speak their mind, speak their truth. Because again, it's about us working collectively together to solve problems. It's not, if we were all siding in one way, we would all be robots and we would all have one thing. So I just want everybody to understand that, and you're welcome to come to one of my town halls and experience that for yourself so that everyone has a voice and everybody has the time to address their issues. So thank you.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Sorry.
Hancock?
Who's this? Councilmember Hancock.
Murillo's next. Wait, I haven't even spoken.
Call for the
This
question.
is crazy. Y'all abuse this call the question. It's ridiculous. I was gonna offer friendly amendment to include folks with disabilities, but okay, whatever. We want to just keep calling the question and pretend like that's actually effective legislating. Fine.
Mayor, point of order. Call for the question was called.
Just,
I'm just trying
You
to
guys are all talking at once. We don't know who's speaking and who is, so.
Mayor, Murillo.
Mario.
Councilmember Murillo.
Thank you. I was going to offer an amendment or some sort of language that adds some additional language on
Mayor,
the
we call for a
exceptions.
point of order here. I call for the question, Mayor.
I'm sorry, you were not recognized
Since
by.
I don't read anybody's mind.
Thank you.
Councilmember Murillo has the floor right now.
Thank you. I was going to offer, and I would like to offer language for an amendment, maybe a friendly amendment to add an additional exception for folks with a disability or folks who might, I don't know, the broadest language, because I don't want to, there's just so many different ways that somebody might need assistance. That's not I don't want to list all the different reasons why somebody might need assistance physically or mentally. And obviously we're not in the business of asking people if they are disabled or not, but can we would it be a friendly amendment to the sponsor to add some sort of language for an exception for disability or some sort of impairment?
Bergen.
So would that be a physical disability? Someone with a wheelchair that needs assistance?
Potentially. There are also mental.
I would only go for physical disability.
Sure then. I mean, I think it should be more broad, but if that's what
I know, I understand, but sorry to interrupt. I just think that would be very difficult to discern. So if you're okay, I would accept your friendly amendment for a physical disability.
Okay, Councilmember Mario?
Yeah, I'll accept that.
Very well. Then, Councilmember Hancock, are you okay with that? Is that a friendly amendment, Councilmember Hancock? She has to go, it has to go back to her, right?
Yeah, she made the motion, so if she's okay with it, then it doesn't have to be an actual amendment.
Councilmember Hancock?
Okay, well, Councilmember Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen already
accepted it, so now it's Councilmember Hancock, you're right.
Yeah, Councilmember Hancock. Councilmember Hancock.
That is fine, Mayor.
Oh, very well, okay.
Just make sure.
Further discussion to 10A6 as amended.
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
So can I just clarify, we agreed to physical disability only rather than disability, period?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
that's deeply problematic and probably discriminatory.
Very well, further discussion on item number 10A6 as amended.
Can we, Mayor, I'm gonna go off with Councilmember Coombs here for a second. Can we make any acceptable disability under the ADA?
Under the ADA.
I would
Americans with
support that
Disabilities
if the
Act.
sponsor would.
No.
Okay.
Councilmember Bergen? It's difficult for me to hear this discussion here.
Mayor, oh,
Shut up. Come on. Good. Councilmember Bergen?
okay, thank you, Mayor. At this point, I can't be going into, the unknown. I simply was okay with the friendly amendment of a physical disability.
Okay.
Further discussion on 10A6 as amended.
Mayor.
Seeing none, call for the question on item number 10A6
Mayor
as amended.
Murillo, I have a question.
Councilmember Murillo.
Thank you. Just to clarify, does this apply to the listening session since we've removed them from the agenda?
So, yes, it does apply to the listening sessions and the council meetings. But if it, again, yes, the podium does, correct.
Further discussion.
Just another question.
Councilmember Murillo.
Thank you. If there's a violation, how would we enforce this? Would people get arrested? What would that look like?
Because we have security officers that work for the city that are able to enforce what we call the house rules, they could stand by and not let people pass them, and if they get pushed away or assaulted, the police could arrest those individuals.
Further discussion. I'm sorry, who is this?
Hancock? Mayor Hancock?
Councilmember Hancock.
I want to be sure that I'm being heard this time. Please, I want to call for the question now.
Motion to call for the question. Is there a second?
Bergen.
Moved by Councilmember Hancock, seconded by Councilmember Bergen to call for the question. Call for the question.
This is the end debate.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
End debate.
To end debate.
Mayor Pro Tem Sundberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen? The motion passes with 8 yes votes, 3 no votes to end debate and vote immediately on the main motion.
So, as amended, yep. So 10A6 as amended.
To Councilmember 10A, I mean, to 10A6 as amended, call for the question.
Mayor Pro Tem Sundberg?
Hold on, sorry. Yes, sorry.
Councilmember Bergen?
Yes.
It's the applicant.
The motion passes with 6 yes votes, 4 no votes from Councilmember Coombs, Lawson, Medina, and Murillo to adopt item 10A6 as amended.
It's been continued.
Well, she's got to read the title.
Correct.
Okay. Will clerk now please read the title to item number 11A?
Item 11A is public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2025-06 for a zoning map amendment to rezone approximately 3.91 acres of land to medium-density residential district R2 located south of the intersection of East Jewel Avenue and South Joliet Street. This item has been continued to the July 14th, 2025 City Council meeting.
Clerk now please read the title to item number 11B.
Item 11B is public hearing consideration of resolution 2025-52 expressing the Aurora City Council's support for revisions to exhibits A and B of the Crestone Peak Resources Operator Agreement.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
This like that.
Presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. My name is Jeffrey Moore, Manager of the Energy and Environment Division here for the city. I have 2 slides for some background and context, and then I'll turn it over to the applicant. The city has an operator agreement with Crestone Peak Resources. That operator agreement does allow revisions to the number of wells and the well sites after a public hearing at City Council. Previous revisions have been approved in January of 2021 and January of 2023. Crestone is requesting 3 things in this current revision. First, to cancel a previously approved well site, which was less than 2,000 feet from 2 residences and also zoned residential R2. A reduction in the total number of wells and well sites in the city, and the addition of 6 wells to the Reserve North well site, which would increase that well site from 9 wells to 15. Our division has reviewed this request. We think there's some benefits to the city if it were to be approved. Reduced impact to residents by canceling that site close to residences. Reduced surface impact by removing the future well site, which is already approved as part of the operator agreement. A reduction in traffic and road impacts because the expanded well site is only about a half mile from I-70 versus the canceled well site, which is a number of miles. We do note that additional wells would require a new permit from the city and through the state, the ECMC. And we do believe this changes can be made and provide greater protection for public health, safety, welfare, the environment, and wildlife resources. We did make a presentation of these materials to the Oil and Gas Advisory Committee. They reviewed it and provided a letter of support. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Dan Harrington with Civitas Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Moore, and good evening, Mayor Kaufman, council members, and staff. We appreciate you hearing us tonight. I'm Dan Harrington. I'm the Asset Development Manager for Civitas Resources, and we will present our proposed application amendment to the operator agreement.
So 803.
So we're seeking to amend Exhibits A and B of the Aurora Crestone Operator Agreement concerning 2 locations. Those are the Reserve North site and the Cottonwood Creek site. The Reserve North site would have an increase in allowed well slots from 9 to 15, and the Cottonwood Creek site, 7 wells would be eliminated entirely. As you may know, the operator agreement was designed to be flexible with amendments to Exhibits A and B without touching the operator agreement itself, and that's the case here. The net effect of these changes will be 1 fewer well site and 1 fewer well in Aurora, and it will allow us to consolidate operations onto an existing site and avoid new disturbance at the Cottonwood site. Next slide, please. This is a map of the proposed sites we'd like to change. Those are in red. The Reserve North site, as Mr. Moore said, sits just north of I-70. The Cottonwood Creek North site sits off Jewel Avenue in southeastern Aurora. Next slide, please. This is a summary of the changes to the Exhibit B. As you can see, there's a slide for every well site in the OA. It has an allowed number of wells per site. As you can see, we're looking to increase the well slots here at Reserve North to be accomplished via a 3rd phase of drilling. That new 6-well expansion would be subject to a new City of Aurora permit as well as a state permit. There are limited potential surface sites for new oil and gas development near the Reserve North pad in this area, and they all carry some surface burdens. By allowing us to add additional wells to the site, we would minimize those burdens and avoid the need for another site along East Colfax Avenue. Further, due to the current configuration of the Reserve North site, the well slot expansion can be accomplished with limited additional long-term surface disturbance. We can kind of fit them on the existing site. And then the amendment to Exhibit B for the Cottonwood Creek North pad is even simpler. It's struck entirely. That pad is within 1,400 feet of 2 residences along a road with some traffic issues. So we feel it's a good site to eliminate out of the operator agreement. This is what the new Exhibit A would look like. It looks very similar to the old Exhibit A, except with the Cottonwood Creek North site removed. This is what the new clean Exhibit B pages would look like, blanked out for Cottonwood. We appreciate staff's review of this as well as the Oil and Gas Advisory Committee and their support, and I can answer questions.
Does anybody wish to be heard on this issue?
No.
Questions of staff or the applicant? Seeing none, public hearing is closed and a motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Combs.
move to approve item 11B.
So moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by?
Mayor, second.
Second by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 11B. Discussion? Seeing, I'm sorry.
So I just wanted to quickly
Councilmember
comment.
Coombs.
I appreciate Crestone Peak being willing to kind of reduce that footprint in some instances, as well as the number of wells. And I hope that the outcome is greater health and safety for our community. So thank you all for bringing this forward.
Further questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 11B.
Councilmember Casal?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo? Thank you. The motion passes to adopt item 11B.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11C?
Item 11C is public hearing consideration without related ordinance to consider an appeal by the applicant regarding the Planning and Zoning Commission decision of denial for the Quick Trip 4263 site plan and conditional use.
So they're just going to, the staff's just going to present.
Public hearing is now open. What's that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Presentation by staff.
That's fine.
Doesn't have to go to 15 minutes.
Hey, real quick, if we've had a request for a continuance, we can just make that here. We don't need to go through the full presentation. I think my understanding is that the applicants are requesting a continuance for 2 months.
That's
So
correct.
yeah, we can just, we'll make that, and we'll see if council wishes to take that. If not, then we'll go into a full presentation. But let's go ahead and just formally get on the record the request, if you would.
Okay, very well. Motion is in order for continuance.
Let's step that first.
Sorry, what do we do?
Thank you, Manager Batchelor. Members of the Council, Mayor Kaufman. My name is James Shireman. I'll be providing the staff presentation for agenda items 11C and 11D, appeals by the original applicant for Quick Trip 4263. Before we proceed further, I would offer the opportunity for the appellants to address the council.
Good evening. My name is David Foster here on behalf of Quick.
I'm sorry, can you just hold on one second?
You
I need
bet.
you to recognize Councilmember Hancock since the public hearing is open.
Councilmember Hancock.
Councilmember Hancock, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, and I do understand.
Okay. Can you, the public hearing was open, so this would be the time to make any announcements.
So I am hereby recusing myself from any discussion, vote, or anything to do with the Quick Trip resolutions, as I participated in a quasi-judicial meeting whereby I made my position known. So I am excusing myself at this time.
Very well. So
they can continue now. So now that Councilmember Hancock has recused herself, which is an acceptable recusal under our rules, it would be appropriate for the applicant to continue their request, and we can move from there.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is David Foster. I'm here on behalf of Quick Trip on this appeal. We would like to ask for the continuance for 2 months. We have we're going to engage a little bit more with our community, and there are a couple of modifications to the site plan we're working on as well, and we think that those will enhance the project and ask for that continuance.
Is the appellant here?
Yes, he's right next to me.
Yes. Any comments on the?
Do you have any comments?
Are you opposed, or do you accept the request for the continuance?
I do accept, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but since you're there,
No, thank you.
we'll get you on the record since we're in the public hearing.
Thank you very much. Yep.
And any members of the public?
No, but I do have a question. Is there a certain date you would like to continue this to? We have July 14th.
I think we talked about July 14th.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
Do we have to vote? Motion is in order.
well, we need to close the public hearing.
Okay.
We can always reopen it if we need to.
Public hearing is closed. Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs?
motion to continue items 11C and 11D? Oh, 11,
Sorry, yeah,
just
just
item
11C.
11C to the July 14th, 2025 regular meeting.
Well, it's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Mayor, I'll second.
Councilmember Lawson to move item number 11C to July 14th, July 14th. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the motion to move 11C to July 14th.
Mayor,
Mayor votes yes. You have to go through the whole process with 11D.
the motion passes to move item 11C to the July 14th council meeting.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 11D.
Item 11D is public hearing consideration without related ordinance to consider an appeal by the applicant regarding the Planning and Zoning Commission decision of denial for the Quick Trip 4263 site plan and conditional use.
Okay. Councilmember Hancock?
The public hearing needs to be opened, Mayor.
Well,
She can recuse herself from this item before the public hearing is open, so we just want to make sure that that's on the record before the public hearing gets open.
I will continue my refusal of this next item.
Okay. Very well, public hearing is open. Presentation by staff.
I would just reiterate the same information, allowing the appellant to request that continuance to July 14th.
The applicant?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, here, David Foster here, still with the applicant next to me, concurring with a continuance to July 14th.
The appellant?
Craig Romrell with Quick Trip, yes, we do concur and agree.
Okay, go. Motion is closed. Hearing is closed. Public hearing is closed. Motion is in order.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs?
Move to continue item 11D to the July 14th, 2025 regular council meeting.
Moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by?
Mayor, second.
Seconded by Councilmember Lawson to move item number 11D to July 14th. Discussion? Seeing,
I have
Councilmember Coombs.
a question, and maybe this is better for after the motion, I'm not sure. I just want to have a little bit of conversation about recusal and ex parte communication. I just have some questions. Should I ask that now or wait until after we vote? It's not relevant to my vote on the matter.
Let's finish the motion, and then you can do a point of personal privilege or a point of order, depending on the question. We can go from there.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number, call for the question on the motion to continue to July 14th.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Bergen?
Yes.
The motion passes to continue item 11D to the July 14th regular city council meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 12.
Point of order.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Councilmember Coombs.
Just regarding ex parte communication. So I had a constituent call me about this. They didn't provide any details. They just said, I want to talk to you about Quick Trip. I didn't respond to their call yet. I should refrain from doing so,
Yes.
I assume. And then as the applicant/appellant is engaged in their public meetings, may council members attend public meetings to hear the discussion that happens in those meetings? And are we allowed to be informed of when those meetings take place?
You should not attend those meetings because they are outside of this process. Again, think of yourself as a judge in a courtroom with a robe on. You would only hear evidence that was be presented in the courtroom, not outside of the courtroom. So because we are in the middle, the hearing's been opened already, because it's been continued, all the information you receive on these two applications or appeals should be done here in the chambers.
Okay, and will information be provided to council in advance about those public meetings and what took place in them for us to be able to question about and interrogate in that quasi-judicial capacity?
I think you all will, if you don't get information about if town halls and other meetings that the appellant actually produces, you will have some strong questions for them on July 14th. But that would be their obligation if they come up with an agreement, whether or not it's talking to business leaders or residents, that they either get a petition. There's a variety of ways for them to bring evidence to the council following their efforts.
Okay, then I would just like to request on the record that we have robust information about the content of those meetings so that we can have that conversation in the proper forum.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 12A?
Item 12A is introduction of ordinance 2025-42, amending sections 102 and 147 of the city code pertaining to updates to the general employees retirement plan.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Nancy Wishmeyer, City Controller, and this item is an amendment to the General Employees Retirement Plan and City Code, and it relates to short and long-term disability. And the reason for this code change is due to the city bringing in-house the administration of short and long-term disability rather than using a third party. And what the code change does is it amends the definition of compensation to include the short and long-term disability payments that are made directly by the city to the employees through city payroll. Does council have any questions?
Thank you. Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor.
It's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 12A. Discussion?
That was your motion, right?
Yes.
Okay. No. Councilmember Coombs went mayor, and then it's been moved. I just want to make sure you're moving to approve. Okay. Just clarify for the record. Ooh.
Okay, discussion. I better slow down here. Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 12A.
Councilmember Murillo? Thank you. The motion passes to adopt item 12A.
With the clerk,
Mayor, point of order, can I request a brief recess?
Very well. See, the time is now 8:18. We will reconvene at 8:30. 5. The regular session of the Aurora City Council is called back to order. Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 12B?
Item 12B is introduction of ordinance 2025-43, appropriating sums of money in addition to those appropriated in ordinance numbers 2023-52, 2024-18, and 2024-80, and for the 2024 fiscal year, and ordinance number 2024-72 for the 2025 fiscal year.
Presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm Tyler Phillips. I'm a budget program manager in the budget office. Today I'm presenting the 2025 spring supplemental ordinance, which is included in your meeting packet. This ordinance includes final adjustments for 2024 and initial adjustments for 2025. I'll provide a high-level overview of each year, and then department representatives and I can address any specific questions you may have. For 2024, all significant items in the general fund were either projected and included in the 2025 adopted budget, or are technical with no impact to the fund balance. It's also worth noting that despite additional appropriations in a few departments, these are more than offset by savings in other departments when evaluating the general fund in total. For all other funds, most items are technical or were previously reviewed by council with few exceptions. You'll notice that the risk management fund was over budget in 2024, mostly driven by higher than budgeted liability claims, but this was also entirely offset by higher insurance recoveries and investment income in the fund. Therefore, there was not a need in 2024 for an increase in the transfer from the general fund. Finally, a similar situation occurred in the Development Review Fund. The fund ended the year over budget, but this higher spending was more than offset by higher revenue in the fund. Moving on to 2025, significant items in the general fund include requests to add 3 FTE to various departments. This includes 1 FTE in the finance department and 1 FTE in the HR department to support the city's new paid time off policy, which will be completely offset by savings generated from a change in how the city approaches short-term disability benefits. The 3rd FTE is for an assistant city attorney to build out the city's litigation section and to be less reliant on outside counsel. Finally, there's an ongoing appropriation for $388,000 in court administration to cover the additional financial obligation of a new compensation structure for the marshal and detention divisions. This was reviewed and supported by members of the Public Safety Committee in November of 2024. In other funds, there are a few significant items from the packet that I'd like to highlight. First, 2 supplemental items add 3 FTE, which are shared across the water and wastewater funds to enhance Aurora Water's cybersecurity. These include 1 senior security analyst and 2 network engineers, and will result in an ongoing cost of almost $445,000. Finally, there are 3 supplementals submitted by the Court Administration Department that combined would add $6.5 million of one-time costs to the Capital Projects Fund. These all relate to different components of upgrades to the courthouse. The first supplemental adds $787,000 for design and engineering of the project. The second supplemental adds $276,000 to update the jury assembly room and expand 2 courthouse restrooms to meet ADA compliance requirements. And the third appropriates $5.5 million for a courthouse security expansion, including 3 new fire alarm control panels and some infrastructure upgrades. It's important to mention that $1.3 million of general fund savings in court administration from 2023 has been transferred to the Capital Projects Fund to help fund these projects. And there is also a supplemental included in your packet to move an additional $400,000 from 2024 court administration savings to the Capital Projects Fund for the same purpose. The remaining items in 2025 are either technical, one-time appropriations, or previously reviewed by council. That concludes my presentation, and department directors and staff are available for questions.
Questions of staff?
Mayor Gardner.
Councilmember Gardner.
Thanks. Yeah, I wanted to ask a little bit more about the courthouse item in terms of the security expansion, the fire alarm replacement. It's $5.4 million, and so I'm curious, has that been funded, or is that going to require a transfer for the entire project amount from the Capital Projects Fund? And I guess I'm somewhat following up to a question from Management and Finance last month, because I'm not sure that was, I think that was asked and wasn't really made clear, and so I'm kind of disappointed in that.
I'm sorry, this is Candace Atkinson, Court Administrator. The request is not currently funded. There was some possible changes to it where $1 million for the fire alarm system was maybe not needed, so that would reduce the request by $1 million plus contingency. And this came forward prior when the estimate was lower, and I just wanted to bring it forward after we had more final numbers.
Okay, so to be clear, it's not funded. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right, thanks.
Further questions to staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coons?
point of order, for the item that Councilmember Gardner just brought up, what would be the process for approving the rest of the items, but not that? Like, how do we split that up?
So I think in the supplemental, it's broken out, I think, and you'll see it listed as 3 items. I think they're all under court admin. It's projects 1, 2, and 3. I believe the design is listed as project 1. The ADA is listed as project 2. And then the expansion for security and the fire alarms are listed as project 3. That project 3 is the one that is not funded. If council passes the appropriation, we would probably take through a cutting exercise to see if we could find funding for that in the CPF. We would take that as the direction. Alternatively, council could tell us now that, that this is perhaps a discussion better had as part of the 2026 budget, as Court Administrator Atkinson noted. We're still continuing to refine that project. Everything she said is exactly correct. We initially thought this project was going to come in at a lower cost. She's able to fund projects 1 and 2 through her departmental savings over the last couple years, so she's able to fund those, obviously at a $5 million plus price tag. That's a pretty significant item for her to have to fund out of current year savings. So normally something that large we would bring forward as part of an annual budget discussion. We had talked about this process with her previously when we had thought this was going to come in much lower, but as she noted, since we'd started this discussion, we did want to bring it to council for you all to hear that this has come in certainly much larger than we'd we had thought. She's still being very responsive to the direction and discussion we've had with council, but I think perhaps a better discussion would be as part of the 2026 budget when we're able to kind of give you a fuller picture of where the CPF lies.
Mayor Gardner.
Councilmember Gardner.
Yeah, I mean, not even part of the 2026 budget discussion. To me, this seems like more of a conversation we should be having as part of Build Up Aurora. We are literally going through a process right now to look at capital needs in our city. Public safety is going to be high on that list. And to me, this type of building expansion, $5 million plus building expansion, really should be part of that discussion and prioritized with all the other, hundreds of millions of dollars of capital needs that we have in our city. I'm not comfortable, telling one department, yeah, you can have this money, and then telling everybody else, oh, you got to wait, until we go through that process. So to me, I would, and I'm going to support, removing this item from the spring supplemental and pushing that discussion into part of the Build Up Aurora process.
Mayor Bergen?
Councilmember Bergen.
So are we not able to fund fire alarms? Because that seems to be a very important, aspect to public safety, is to have appropriate fire alarms. And how much would just funding the fire alarms be?
So as Court Administrator Atkinson noted, it's something we're continuing to look at.
But you said it wasn't even, it was like project 3, it was like 3. It wasn't even like. It
is. So yeah, the fire alarm system in the courts building is so old that it actually is connected to the police headquarters building and the history museum. So you actually have all 3 buildings operating off of one fire alarm system, which is not meet current code. So it's not a single fire alarm system. It is essentially all three, which is one of the reasons that I think that cost, certainly, I think when we got into this, didn't have that on our radar. When we saw that, the kind of the expansion of that, and they get into what we call the touch rule. Once you're kind of doing a certain level of work on a building, you have to bring the rest of the building up to code, or at least major systems, and that fire alarm came out. So that's one of the things we're potentially looking at is, and I think it's to your question too, Councilmember Bergen, is do we break out that fire alarm system and for all three buildings and have that be a separate project from the expansion for the physical security of the courts building? But either way, the expansion of the building will probably trigger that requirement.
Right, so if it was broken up and taken out of the expansion of the building, are you saying we could bring the fire alarms to code without having to do the entire expansion?
You would essentially have two separate projects. You'd have a fire alarm project for the three buildings that would probably be about $1 million for those three buildings, and then you'd have a physical expansion of the remaining building for about $4.4 million. So you still have a $4+ million expansion of the courthouse for physical security, plus $1 million for the fire alarm. So it's still in excess of $5 million for both projects, but you would essentially run them as two.
Yeah, because I was hoping that we could just use some potential ARPA dollars if there were any left for the fire alarms, but it doesn't sound like that is possible.
Unfortunately for the ARPA dollars, our time has come where we've had to have those fully committed. So those are all, to meet the legal requirements of the federal government, those were all had to be fully committed by December of last year.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption.
I think we still need a motion, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's why I had made the point of order, was to know
Okay,
what
motion is in
to make.
order.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
Move to approve the spring supplemental except for court administration capital project number 3.
It's been moved by Councilmember Coombs,
Mayor, second.
second by Councilmember Lawson, to move item number 12B, adopt item number 12B as amended. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 12B as amended.
Councilmember Hancock. Councilmember Hancock. Thank you. The motion passes with 9 yes votes, 1 no vote from Councilmember Drinsky to adopt item 12B.
We could now please read the title to item number 12C.
Item 12C is introduction of ordinance 2025-44, repealing ordinance number 2025-15 as a duplicate of ordinance number 2025-13 due to an admin error, and correcting said error with this ordinance vacating a portion of a 16-foot wide alley right-of-way, North Block 104, dedicated by the plat of Johnson Hickman subdivision at reception number 480782, situated in the northwest quarter of Section 35, Township 3 South, Range 67 west of the 6 p.m., located north of East 25th Avenue between Jamaica Street and Joliet Street.
Presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Aria Muka, and I'll be presenting on behalf of staff today. The request is to vacate a portion of a 16-foot wide right-of-way. Per city procedures, right-of-way vacations such as alleys do not require planning commission review and fall solely under the city council. This specific street vacation was originally part of a package of 4 vacation requests approved by the city council on January 27, 2025. However, due to a clerical error, the same ordinance was assigned to 2 separate items in the package, 2025-13 and 2025-15. As a result, ordinance number 2025-15 must be repealed and replaced with a corrected version for proper recordation and legal accuracy. The applicant Housing Authority of the City of Aurora proposes to vacate the alley right-of-way on the northeast corner of Ironton and East 25th Ave. This vacation is part of a broader plan to facilitate the development of an affordable multifamily application. And with that, staff proposes one question for council. Does council wish to approve the ordinance that would repeal ordinance number 2025-15 and vacate a portion of the 16-foot wide alleyway right-of-way between Jamaica Street and Juliet Street?
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor,
All right, Councilmember Coombs.
move to approve item 12C.
Moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by?
Mayor, second.
Seconded by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 12C. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 12C.
Councilmember Gardner.
Okay.
Councilmember Gardner.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
The motion passes with 9 yes votes to adopt item 12C.
Clerk, now please read the title of item number 12D.
Item 12D is introduction of ordinance 2025-45 to exercise the power of eminent domain for acquisition of certain real property interests necessary for the Aero 70 project.
A brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Hector Reynoso. I manage the Real Property Services Division in the Public Works Department here at the City of Aurora. The Aero 70 project is constructing 1.3 million square feet of industrial space east of E470, north of I-70, and south of Smith Road. You can see the project on page 756 of your backup there, Exhibit A. It is the terminus of the purple line. The project is required to extend utilities, water and sewer utilities to the site. The project, however, is only required to install an 8-inch sanitary sewer line and a 12-inch water line. The city has entered into a reimbursement agreement with the development to upgrade both the sewer and the water line. The sewer line that the project that the city is funding for installation can be seen as a yellow highlighted line on Exhibit A, found on page 756 of the backup information, and the water line can be seen shaded in blue along Smith Road. The shaded portions generally depict the extension of the upgraded services. The water line will be a 16-inch water line going down Smith Road, and the sanitary sewer line will go from an 8-inch line to a 12-inch line, and that's depicted in purple on Exhibit A, and the 12-inch line, the sanitary sewer line depicted in yellow, will be increased to a 15-inch sanitary sewer line. These services will be extended to this site and will be the logical extension of utilities from this site to the east, as well as properties to the north when the properties come to develop. The project impacts 5 property owners, E470, ECCV, Aero 70, O'Reilly, and the Colorado Interstate Gas Company, or CIG. 4 of the 5 property owners have conveyed easements to the city for construction of the project. In early 2023, the Aurora Water Department approached CIG to lay the foundation for an exchange where CIG would convey the easement to the city in exchange for provision of an extraterritorial water use agreement. The water use agreement, as well as the easement, both equal approximately $300,000 in value, and so it would be an in-kind exchange for the easement in exchange for the water use agreement. In November of 2024, however, CIG had become unresponsive to staff, and in November of 2024, the Aurora Water Department requested the Real Property Services Division to proceed with acquisition of the easement from Colorado Interstate. from CIG, the Real Property Services Division was able to memorialize the exchange, the water exchange, water use agreement exchange for the easement, and staff at the CIG did verbally agree to that deal in January of 2025. In February of 2025, CIG staff indicated that corporate for CIG would have to approve. Corporate is in a different state. As of last Wednesday, corporate still has not approved or provided any indication as to whether they're going to approve the exchange of an easement for a water use agreement. And so in order to avoid any further delays in constructing the project, city staff would like to ask council if city council approves an ordinance authorizing the use of eminent domain to acquire the property interests necessary to construct the SC10, SC11 project.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs?
move to approve item 12D.
It's moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by?
Mayor, second.
Second by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 12D. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 12D.
Councilmember Bergen? Thank you. The motion passes with 9 yes votes to adopt item 12D.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 16A.
Item 16A is determination of final candidates to be interviewed for the Planning and Zoning Commission vacancy.
I think Mike Kelly and Johnny Watson were the top two. My suggestion is we go with the top two.
Mayor Riley, you mean? Michael Riley?
Michael Riley, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Close. That would require a motion.
Yeah.
And who
There
was
is
the
a motion.
third? Again, I'm sorry, I just always am in favor of interviewing at least 3 because of
Are there
some
one or
past
two
experience.
spots?
Robin
one.
Becker.
There's one.
Robin Becker. Okay,
Mayor? Bergen?
Councilmember Bergen?
I normally would interview 3. However, the third person, the ranking of the third person was at least 10 points behind the other 2. I would recommend just interviewing the first 2.
Okay, it's moved by Councilmember Bergen, second by?
Kasa.
Second by Councilmember Casar to interview the first 2 for the one position in Planning Commission. Discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs?
I am going to vote for it because it's not a hill worth dying on, but I will say that we have found ourselves in a position where we ended up not having any candidates we wanted to appoint based on fewer interviews. So I would recommend still adding Robin Becker, but not
Or
going
you
to
can
die
always
on
do a
that.
substitute.
Okay, yes, I'll make a substitute motion to, well, no, that's too much voting. We'll just do,
Okay.
I just wanted to state that if it was a
Everybody
friendly amendment, I would recommend adding Robin Becker.
Okay. Councilmember Bergen, is that a friendly amendment?
No, I thought Councilmember Coombs agreed to just the 2. And why would you have told her to do a substitute motion?
Well, the question is she's offered a substitute, but, well,
No, she
she's
didn't.
saying,
No, Councilmember Bergen, I'm sorry. I was saying that I'm not going to die on that hill, but if it was a friendly amendment, I would like to add a third. But I'm not going to go through all the rigmarole of a substitute
well,
motion.
Councilmember Bergen, is it a friendly amendment?
No.
It is not. Very well. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of the Bergen amendment to motion to interview Mike Riley and Johnny Watson.
You can vote on that.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Bergen?
So how do I bring up 16B? Do I have to-
Just ask me, and I'll.
Yes.
The motion passes to interview Johnny Watson and Michael Riley for the Planning and Zoning Commission vacancy.
To the city attorney on item number 16B.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, this is the longstanding 16B. As you know, our rules changed tonight, so there's no requirement for council or the mayor to give any indication to Katie about being virtual. So if there's any action that wants to be taken on the next meeting, now would be the time. If not, we'll move on.
Very well. Reports. Is there any discussion on virtual?
Yes,
versus?
Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen.
I think there will be a few people missing on the next meeting, so I was going to recommend virtual.
Very well.
I don't have many of my colleagues.
I think 3 members are going to be, I think 3 members will be out of town. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll have 2 or 3 members out of time.
Does it require a motion?
No, I mean, if the motion would be to go virtual if they wanted to, but. Okay, is there a second?
Okay. I'm sorry.
She made the motion to go virtual.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Bergen to go virtual, seconded by?
Oh, no, second.
Jurinski.
Second by Councilmember Jurinski. Discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
so does that include the removal of all public comment, or are we going to provide an avenue for public comment? Because if it's just because folks are going to be elsewhere, they could just join virtually if we're going to allow public comment. So I just want to make sure we're clear what we're doing.
So if council gave us direction that they would like public comment to be on the call-in line, then we could do that. But as of right now, with the motion on the floor, there would be no public comment on the 19th. We just go right into study session and right to the council meeting.
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
We could go ahead and add a call-in line for that particular meeting, right?
Sorry, Councilmember Bergen. Did you want to?
Amend my motion?
I have the city attorneys dying on my left here.
Amend your motion.
Yeah. So you're saying that yes to the call-in line?
I think that's what my colleague, Councilmember Coombs, was suggesting, so I would be amenable to that.
Very well. Okay. So
Councilmember Jurinski, are you okay with that as a seconder?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, just clarification. And also that would eliminate, though, the public comment session, or we would have that virtually?
So right now, with the motion on the floor would be all meetings would be virtual, and we would make sure to have the 40-minute public comment session from 6 to 6:40 via the call-in line. That's the motion on the floor.
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of item number 16B as amended to be a virtual meeting.
With the call-in line. Yeah.
With a call-in line. Discussion? Seeing none, I call for the question on the adoption of item number 16B as amended.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
Councilmember Hancock.
Yes.
The motion passes to hold the May 19th, 2025 City Council meeting virtually with the call-in line for public comment listening session.
Reports. Mayor's no report. Councilmember Coombs.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to thank our staff for their continued work on the Civic Engagement Academy. I was able to present last Wednesday evening on the charter to the participants of that academy and appreciated their thoughtful questions. I also wanted to note that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And Colorado has a program called I Matter that provides 6 mental health sessions for all Colorado youth. And you can find information about that at imattercolorado.org. As well, upcoming on May 17th, we have a very busy day in the city. I unfortunately will be working and cannot attend, but we have Waterwise Day, AFR and Rotary Fire Safety Field Day, and the opening reception for the prehistoric Aurora exhibit at the Aurora History Museum. So we have our own little dinosaur exhibit there at the Aurora History Museum. I also, Mr. Schulte, I'm not sure where is the correct venue to request this, whether it's now or at another time, but I would like to have a formal opinion on the record about whether or not the conduct of identifying oneself as a council member without saying I represent would be censurable conduct. By saying that I don't represent city council already implies being a member of council. So I'm not sure how saying I'm a council member does any more to shift that balance of power per our discussion. So if now is the time, great. If not, I would like to have a hearing or a recommendation on the record regarding that item.
Mayor, do you want me to, I mean, it'll be quick.
Oh, please, go ahead.
So, again, each situation is going to be different about what is said, but what I would say is because that's the rule, if the rule had said you were able to call yourself a council member but still stated that you were representing yourself individually, I think you would be fine, but that's not what the rule that was passed tonight. But again, it would be, are you clear based on your testimony to the legislature, wherever you're testifying, that you're representing yourself, right? You're not representing the city in any way. I don't think that'd be censurable.
Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Jurenski.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Aurora Economic Development Council's Accelerate trip and met with the Colorado delegation to lobby on behalf of current frozen federal dollars. We have several grants out that we are waiting on funding for. And as we know, some of those federal dollars have been frozen. I think I did a pretty good job pleading the case that we, meet the requirements of the current administration to receive our federal funding. And I have two congressional members committed to helping the city of Aurora get our grant funding released. One specifically is for our firefighters and their needs. So I very much look forward to seeing the city of Aurora's federal grants unfrozen. Thank you.
Councilmember Casar. Councilmember Murillo.
Thanks, Mayor. Just announcing my May town hall. We take a break during the summer, but our last one before we resume back in August will be Thursday, May 22nd, from 6 to 7:30 at the MLK Library, and I hope to see you all there. Just wanted to also acknowledge today is Cinco de Mayo, which is, a pretty well-known Mexican-American holiday, not to be confused with Mexican Independence Day, but just want to uplift the rich history where we obviously celebrate the Cinco de Mayo. And according to Britannica.com, Denver is one of the, amongst LA and Washington, DC, have a strong celebration of festivities. So I want to uplift that. And just uplifting the role that our Mexican neighbors played in pushing against slavery back in the day, which is really the one of the biggest outcomes of the Cinco de Mayo, although I think it gets lost in the sombreros and margaritas that normally we associate with the holiday, although I am not opposed to a margarita in honor of Cinco de Mayo, but just wanted to uplift the kind of more traditional and historical part of the celebration.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sundberg.
Thanks, Mayor. I've recently participated in a couple of neighborhood cleanups, one in my own Murphy Creek, another with Iron Sharp along Colfax, with a couple police departments helping connect them with resources. Attended the Freedom Memorial Visitor Center groundbreaking, making progress there. Part of the Triple Creek Trailhead Art in Public Places process, which is fascinating. Art in Public Places does a great job. Went to the Community College of Aurora luncheon, in which they raised nearly $250,000 for scholarships. Earlier last month, or in the middle of the last month, I went to the Energy and Environment Symposium in Rifle, fascinating about our energy needs. And that's about it, sir.
Well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Mayor. So I attended yesterday the Colorado Association of Black Professional Engineers and Scientists. They have age groups from 5th grade to high school. They're students that are interested in being project managers, looking into how to build affordable housing. They had a lot of projects around aerospace and engineering and other types of engineering aspects there, so it was well attended. Good group of young people coming up. And my town hall will be Tuesday, the 13th, from 6:30 to 8 at the Central Library. Thank you.
Councilmember Hancock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to mention, I too was along with our delegation that went to Washington, D.C. on the Accelerate trip. It was a really good trip that, as we advocated for the much needed infrastructure funding here in our city, had the privilege of attending the Buckley Regional Military Affairs Council meeting, where we reaffirmed our deep commitment to supporting the brave men and women who serve along with their families. One of the biggest takeaways that we got from our congressional delegation in DC was their support for the Space Force Guard and Reserve units that are much needed, as all of our military services do have Reserve and Guard units except for Space Force. So to have that here in Colorado is a much needed shot in the arm for our military support and strength here in this community. Again, I attended the groundbreaking ceremony for the Colorado Freedom Memorial Project along with Councilmember Pro Tem Sundberg and you, Mayor. This project was led by Rick. He is like a one-man army to make this project really go, and I'm looking forward to seeing the fruits of his labor being realized. Dr. Brownlee and his remarkable team really played a key role in the CCA College Beyond Walls luncheon. As was mentioned, they raised almost $250,000, and they're expanding out into a partnership with Commerce City, which is also great. We as the city of Aurora are doing many great things behind the scenes and in the public to ensure that our city is the gold standard for what happens in communities across the country. If you haven't received your Explore Your Library from the Aurora Public Library magazine, you can download it online. There are some amazing opportunities for young people, kids, free events. The theme this month is Color Our World, May 27th to July 19th. There's kickoff events at the libraries, talents, reach, magic shows, all kinds of free things. The movies at the reservoirs kicking off this month. So I encourage you to download this great publication from the library, and even more, go out and participate. They're there for you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Hancock. Councilmember Lawson.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank everyone that attended my last town hall. It was Drug Take Back Awareness Day, and we had a lot of people that actually brought a lot of their unused medications that they're not using. I mean, I think the officer had like Jason, right? It was a big bag just full. So I want to thank everyone who participated in that. My town hall, my first one is May 13th, and it will be at Central Rec Center. It's at 6:30 to 8. And then I have another one on the 24th, and that will be at Heather Gardens, and that will be at 10 o'clock. And that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Bergen.
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the Accelerate Colorado business development trip, and we of course met with our congressional delegation, and actually this year got to meet with Congressman Jason Crow, Congressman Joe Neguse, Gabe Evans, Lauren Boebert, Brittany Peterson, and Congressman Jeff Hurt, as well as Senator Hickenlooper and Bennett. And then we had some very good meetings with different departments, Department of Transportation, Department of Energy, and some intergovernmental affairs, and then some insight from some news organizations. So it was very fruitful. And the only other thing I have to report are that I attended, of course, the Infrastructure Task Force meeting, Fitzsimmons Redevelopment Authority, and then the E470 Roadway Committee meeting. Thank you.
Great. Seeing no further business before the Aurora City Council, meeting is adjourned.